All right, we are back here on the podcast talking about WandaVision from Marvel Studios. Just heard their fabulous intro on the podcast. Join me today, our pop culture correspondent, Sam Derosa. Sam, welcome back. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited for this segment.
Yeah, first time we've talked since the holidays, the year in review of pop culture. We talk about WandaVision, something we're looking forward to. I have to say, I was not expecting to be as good as it has been so far.
Same. I'm actually blown away. Like, I'm very interested in this show, and I'm very excited of how it's portrayed and everything.
Yeah, so I mean, as of recording here, we've had 3 episodes drop. They did the 2-part premiere, and they had the episode last week to sort of change everything. And I said, you know what? I've heard episode 3 is crazy. Let's wait till after episode 3 to talk about it. I think we made the right call.
I think you did too. I just wanted to get into it, but I'm glad you said, told me to pump the brakes and to wait till after the 3rd episode.
Yeah, so we'll get a little general talk here. We're going to get into the big spoilers and the theories, and there's a lot of them going on, especially getting some answers this week, which is going to be some fun. We're not going to cover this on the weekly like we did Mandalorian because this is just a little too strange to try to keep track of everything, but we'll do some check-ins here and there. Probably after the finale, Sam, I'll be back to talk about this again, but I think the thing I like the most about this show is just, it's so weird. It's not the traditional Marvel, oh, here's the good guy, here's the bad guy, villain fight, blah, blah. We've had 3 episodes. We've not had any big fights. We've had weird mute stuff. We had sitcoms where I use a lot of interesting different directions they've gone.
Yeah, and then it's just nice, like somebody who grew up watching TV Land, and I know that sounds like stupid coming out of my mouth as in dating myself, but it's nice to have the nuances of the older sitcoms coming in, because this isn't a sitcom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a sitcom. It's more of a drama. It's mysterious and everything, but they're going off the face of the comedies from the 50s, 60s to tell the story, which is an interesting way, I feel to show the plot line.
Yeah, I mean, they really dive full into the sitcom motifs. I mean, they had the black and white footage of the first 2 episodes. Episode 1 supposedly was filmed in front of this live studio audience, which is actually pretty cool because they filmed this pre-COVID, so it was actually safe to have audiences in the filming area. So they got that done, and you had trees of shows like you had your Bewitched, you had Dick Van Dyke tributes, and then I thought it was pretty cool to see the Marvel spin. I'm like, what would Marvel TV have looked like in the 1950s? And then this kind of gives you a look at that.
Exactly. It's just, I don't know. Something I wasn't expecting this. I'm still blown away about how they did everything. I'm sure you guys could go back and listen to me bash this show. I was very concerned, very hesitant, but here I am just giving 4 gold stars right now to the show as of episode 3.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I know you said you had skeptical issues with it. I had issues with it too, because this is one of those things where when they announce the show and they say the title is WandaVision, it's about Wanda and Vision. You're like, do we really need this? Is this something that we were asking for as an audience? Is a show just about a Scarlet Witch and Vision? And it turns out, yes, we did need this show.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm very curious to see where it's going to go because of everything that's happened in this past 3rd episode. But I heard a story that they said that to Elizabeth Olsen that she'll never have to wear any of the comic versions of the Scarlet Witch, what she wore in the comics. But funny enough, I think they pay tribute to her, character from the comics in the next coming episodes. I just wanted to point that out because I think it's hilarious. It's a little contradicting, but it's fine.
Yeah, Marvel does do that from time to time. Remember the Netflix Jessica Jones series? They had fun with that where they had Jessica Jones. I think I forget who her best friend was. They were superheroes in the comics. They had them wear the costumes of a second on the show. They're like, nah, we can't wear this. I think that's always fun when they do that.
Oh my God. I guess you're right. They tell you no, and then they surprise you with the just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. And I think there's too much spoiler territory here and not get into it. So I'm going to put the spoiler warning up. All right, you've been warned. If you have not finished the first 3 episodes of WandaVision, get the hell out. Go watch the show. Otherwise, you're gonna be spoiled to bits about what's going on in these episodes. And I have to say, this was not the direction I thought we were going in here, because I thought they gave you a formula sitcoms. We're gonna pay tribute here. Where you start wondering, you realize it's not that simple. There's stuff going on in the background.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's so many hidden meanings, so many characters. Like you just never know what's going on. You can't take anything at face value.
Yeah,
It's really interesting, like how they do like the music cues to like the dialogue, and it's absolutely insane.
it really is. And we're gonna bounce around a little bit, but I mean, the big moment from episode 3, like that basically sets us up for we don't know where we're going here. Beyond this is we have episode 3. Wanda ends up having babies because she gets pregnant. Episode 2. Over the course of one episode, she managed to give birth to the twins, who are comic significant characters, which we'll get to later. But she ends up meeting her friend Geraldine, who, again, spoiler alert, I know this has not been on the show yet, but they've announced it in pretty much every form of like public media about this. This is something that's out there. So, I mean, if you look on the internet, you'll find it. The Geraldine is actually Monica Rambeau, who is the daughter of Maria Rambeau, Captain Marvel's friend from the Captain Marvel movie. So we find out that she figures out real quick that she's not Geraldine and that she's an agent of Sword. You see the little sword logo on her thing and throws her basically out. She gets thrown out of the Wanda world, which is called Westview. We find out it's a real town. We had the brilliant one where the aspect ratio flips from the horizontal logo to the vertical lines of like the current timeline. And we see that this is sort of like an illusionary town that somehow Wanda is either running a vision or running a thing in her mind for this, controlling the town. It's really odd. I was like, I called me that surprise when we found that out so quick.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like third episode, you would think that you would want to keep the like mystery, I guess. But I remember the first, so like not this past week, the week before, they were like, oh no, that's like Maria's daughter. I'm like, no way. And then they came out mentioning that definitely was her. But it's awesome because you can see like when she gets thrown from Wanda's little like universe, I guess, within our own Earth, you know, you could see like the force field from the shows and stuff, because I was just like, oh, maybe it's just all in her head, but it's actually like it's Wanda's creation and she is able to like control everything in there because it's like actually her. You know, it's not just like she's like in a coma or in like, you know, the Matrix basically, in that like weird sack thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a theory going out there that the key is Wanda is the key to everything, because it's not even Vision's thing, because like we've seen Wanda at points like notice things that are odd, like the stork in episode 3, like showing up like when she's trying to give birth to the kids. And we saw like the beekeeper with the sword logo in episode 2. We saw like the random color planes show up and stuff like that. And like she's constantly said like times like broken the fourth wall, like no, and then rewinds time and stuff like that. So Wanda is in some kind of control here, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Because you would think that maybe she's just held captive by somebody else, put in this trance or whatever, but she's like end all be all in charge of every decision that she makes.
Yeah, we did not see what the final exchange was, because the whole thing that broke the Geraldine thing was when Geraldine references Pietro dying in Age of Ultron, which great job by Disney Plus, by the way, to try and direct you to Age of Ultron after this episode ended when you're playing next. I thought that was a good call by them, but
yeah,
that was a good job there. And that's the point. We don't see what happens next. Obviously, you see Monica flying out of the Westview simulation. When I think it's pretty clear that Wanda has a lot more say what's going on than what is we've seen so far. I'm curious we get that perspective next week of what the rest of that conversation looked like.
yeah, and then it's just really cool because if you look, it's like the 70s sitcom, like, you know, music, and then it goes to like the classic like Marvel orchestra.
Yeah.
I just thought that was like such a cool little, you know, little token of editing going on.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting that at the end of episode 1, something that people may not have noticed, they were looking away quickly, is that the events of the WandaVision show were sort of playing out like on a screen. It looked like a military base, and we saw the military base episode 3. So like, it's one of those things that you also the question is like, is the military doing an experiment on Wanda and she created all of this, or is like she fighting the military and she's hiding in this sort of space and she's taking over this town where people are really living? And that's really, really fascinating to watch how that plays out.
Yeah, and there's just like so much mystery. Like every single, it's kind of like a horror thriller show in a comedy, which is like really interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I do think the thing I'm also curious about is like the role of what exactly Vision is, because all the Marvel fans know Vision is dead. he got murdered twice in Avengers Infinity War, because Wanda kills him once, then Thanos turns back time, kills him again to get the Infinity Stone out of his head. Yet
Yeah.
he's here alive and well. So what do you think is going on with Vision?
Well, like, you want to live in your like best moment, and it's like a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
But it has to be her way to like cope with her trauma and her loss, especially having to lose Vision twice. It's like extra bad. So that's my idea of why she has him there. Because the stone doesn't serve, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel bad.
Yes. So you think he's more of a coping mechanism, because like she's been through so much trauma over the past, like, and she was also the one who got dusted at the end of Infinity War and came back to life at Endgame. So you think they deserve like her trying to like come to grips with her new reality, and she's using Vision as a crutch.
Exactly. And then that also, like, he's the one who points out certain things. He's the one that fixes things. But she's like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And he's like, she's in the first episode at the dinner party, she's like, help him. But she's the one that's giving him the instruction. Or anytime there's something wrong with the beekeeper, like you said before, she rewinds it. If he says something that she doesn't like, she rewinds it just for her coping. Like she's like making herself in her own little bubble stay safe and like, comforted.
Yeah, I also feel like, to me, I do think we're not getting actual Vision back. I still think he's still dead, but I think this is more of like I want to say like sort of a manifestation of her conscience, in a sense, where maybe like this is the part of Wanda says you should not be doing this, and like those are the times when he starts to like you said, when he starts to figure things out, she rewinds and sort of is like, no, I'm not ready to deal with this yet. That's one thing I think with Vision is also interesting, and maybe he's the key getting her out of her own head a little bit, because he's sort of the moral center of Wanda, where Wanda's sort of like spiraling right now.
Yeah, I definitely think that he'll be she'll, until she can let him go, she can come out of this trance, this medicated state, whatever she's in, for her to create her own little world.
Yeah, I think she is in her own little world. And I do have a lot of interesting like things going on, especially with the reveal of the sword logo last week. I mean, we saw, as Marvel fans, we saw the sword reveal at the end of the post-credit scene from Spider-Man Far From Home, when we found Nick Fury's up in space getting the sword thing going. And now they're here operating on Earth. So I think it's pretty cool if we have this tie-in directly. I know Feige has said that this is not like required reading where, like you have to watch this show. And he said he's not a big fan of that, but it's nice enriching material next time you see like a movie where swords involved.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an important part of Marvel to show to like, the mainstream, basically.
Yeah. Cause I mean, we know we have sword stuff coming, and the other characters we got introduced to so far, Wanda's twins, I know in the comic books that they end up becoming heroes in their own right. So considering how fast the show skips through time, it'll be interesting to see these twins sort of growing up as we go through like the next couple episodes.
Yeah. I mean, we saw in the trailer them running around being, forces of nature, basically.
Yep. Yeah, they're definitely going to be a factor in this. I also think that in terms of the show itself, I think that the thing I'm curious about is like, at what point do we sort of get Wanda's break where she realizes, I did this, I need to stop this, especially when you see characters in the show are like afraid of her, like Agnes last episode when she was talking to the neighbor. She's terrified of Wanda, and like we see the doctor too. He's like, I can't leave when you're supposed to go on vacation. And like, you basically see that he can't leave, and she's not letting anybody leave unless she makes them leave, like she did to Monica Rambeau. So I think that's definitely a fun element to track here. She's sort of holding all the people in there with her.
Yeah. And then it's not until, like, I know in the trailer as well, because we haven't seen this yet, and it could be totally different when Vision's like, we have to help these people. So it's just like, maybe that like he'll be the voice of reason to get her out of this. Like, like we were saying before, I don't know. And then they were also talking about Agnes in a different sense as well.
Yeah. What do you think about Agnes? Like, I feel like she's been the breakout character of the show. I think she's a lot of fun when she's on the screen.
Yeah. And then they were talking about her from the comics being somebody else who, I don't want to spoil anything, but she might be this character who is kind of like a villain in like the future.
Yeah, I've seen theories that Agnes is basically like another like witch character from the comics. So like, That would make some sense to me. There's theories I've seen where she's like one of the people who run Sword. Maybe she got trapped in this space. She's trying to help Wanda get her way out of there. That'd be another interesting angle here. But like Catherine Hahn is phenomenal in this as his character. She is so fun.
Yeah, she could play any decade and be
Yep.
totally like okay in whatever decade she ends up in.
I also love the use of some of these great sitcom actors. Like in the first episode, we saw Vision's boss's wife is played by Deborah Jo Willard from That 70s Show.
Yes. Oh my God. She's like my favorite.
Yeah. I was so called like, oh my God, they got Kitty for the show.
Exactly. I thought that's my Kitty.
Yeah. And I forget which homage they were going for in the 50s episode, but there was the whole dinner party plot felt like such an I Love Lucy episode, basically in the making.
Exactly. But like how they change from like funny to like serious, like the dramatic, like that sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it says something for every of the actors' abilities,
Yep.
like, Kitty Foreman, going from that to this character being the boss's wife. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just the way that they like transition it.
Yep.
It's quick and it's fast, but it works so well.
It's also pretty creepy too in some of those moments when you see, especially like in the first episode where like her husband is choking, she's just laughing, ha ha ha, ha stop it, ha,
Yeah.
ha, stop it, like over and over and over again, and then you're sitting like,
it goes from like hysterical to crying, and she's still like smiling, but she's crying because she's scared.
Yeah,
it's like it was that part got me. That's the exact part that got me hooked on the show.
Yeah, that stuff is so great. And Elizabeth Olsen's just having so much fun because like she's getting to do so many different like sitcom tropes and like show her range as an actress. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and because she's, for somebody who lives in the same realm as their twin sisters who were famous, it's nice to see her break out. She's not just, Mary-Kate and Ashley's younger sister.
Yeah.
She's Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, she's her own person here. And I do think we got a lot of fun characters so far. I do think like, what was your favorite moment so far of the show? I do think I enjoyed the talent show where Vision is drunk on the gum and then Wanda's basically covering for him, trying to reveal hiding his powers as he goes.
I did like that part too. The part where they're like going around, like saying it's like a neighborhood watch meeting and just them like talking shit about each other kind of deal I liked. But I know I said this before, like I just finished saying this, but the dinner scene, with like the whole like everything's going awry and not going right, and it's like all that to her husband chokes.
Yeah,
I just think like that whole scene with Deborah Jo is like the best. I don't know. I think that was like the best part of the whole season so far.
Yeah, that's been good. I also think the whole scene of like last week with Geraldine telling the story about her job while Wanda's trying to hide the stork from her was also so funny watching that.
Oh yeah, that was really funny. Or when she throws like with the orange or whatever.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
I also thought it was a good sitcom homage to the fact that like a lot of the sitcoms tend to like hide the actress's pregnancies, that like having her hold a bowl of fruit above like in front of her chest, and then like Geraldine's like, "Oh, you got fruit, thank you," and then she sits and tells the story. It's so funny.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah,
they did that all the time with purses. They always had purses in front of them.
Yeah,
it's so funny. It's like you can't say it or you can't add it into the story, so you're just gonna have to ignore it or like find a creative way to change it.
Yeah, I remember. I forget. Yeah, what season the episode was in, but there was a season where like Allison Hannigan was pregnant, but Lily was not pregnant on the show, and then they had a flashback of her doing an eating contest, and they show her stand with her full pregnant belly. After that, I'm like, that's just so clever.
And she disappears because she's mad at Barney.
Yeah.
For telling a really bad, like mean joke, so she like disappears for a while.
Yeah, stuff like that is clever. I did like that, and the other thing I think is interesting that we not touched on yet is the in-show commercials, where like between like the Act 1 and Act 2, we get like the Marvel product commercial. We had something from Stark Industries, we had a Hydra bar, we had whatever the other one was, but like I know Feige said those commercials matter, so I'm interested to see what they end up meaning.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very well placed, and they're very like for the times or whatever. It's just like, you're burning your husband's toast, like get this toaster or whatever, like, for the 50s and whatnot. It's like, I don't know. It's just really interesting. And they have like the different symbols for like the Marvel universe for good versus evil or whatever. I was really excited when it was like Stark Industries. I'm like, oh my God, Iron Man. Like his dad invented that.
Yeah, this is a Howard Stark original we're seeing on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think also I'm excited to see where this goes. I feel like the show, I feel like it's going to be such a unique experience watching it because they chose not to do the binge. They chose to do the one episode drop at a time. And this is going to be one where I feel like once we have the complete picture, you're not going to be able to go back and watch it the same way you did the first time.
Oh, exactly. It's great that we were getting this, like how we were able to do the podcast now. Cause I feel like we're going to like look back on this and be like, wow, we're so dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how could you not see that?
Yeah, there's going to be something that comes out. It's going to make everything we said in the past 20 minutes completely irrelevant.
Totally. But it's totally worth our time. Totally worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good, worthwhile investment in time. We give you the full thumbs up here. Go watch WandaVision every Friday on Disney Plus. It comes out 3 a.m. if you happen to be up or like a crazy person. Otherwise, first thing in the morning, throw it on there.
Oh, definitely. I have it with my morning coffee with my lovely Mandalorian mug, which you were so kind in getting me. And I had to throw it on the podcast this week.
Yeah, it's on the video version on YouTube. You want to check that out. So that's
definitely. I forget that the people on the podcast cannot see; they can only hear. Yeah, that's just a mistake at 9:45 in the evening.
Yeah, Mike Phillips on YouTube. You want to check out the YouTube version of this video? That will be up there. But let's touch on a couple other quick items while you're here. There's been a news item of late that apparently Chris Evans is close to returning to the MCU, which I think is getting interesting. And we have theories about this because like we have all sorts of time travel shenanigans. Spider-Man 3 is opening whole multiverse personalities here. So I think it'll be fun to see what they do with Chris Evans.
Yeah, I mean, like for somebody who's like, I'm done being Captain America. And he's like, just kidding. Offer me enough money and I'll be Captain America again. But we love him and we love him as Captain America. Yeah. What happened to Anthony Mackie? You know what I mean? Like, whatever. But it's fine. We love Chris Evans.
I got two theories on this. Which is number one, he's either coming in the multiverse, he's going to show up from another dimension as his Captain America, while Anthony Mackie can still be Captain America as Sam Wilson. The other one is we sort of do like some sort of a time travel thing where we go back to see his life in the 70s with Peggy Carter. That's my other option.
That'd be fun. I saw this ridiculous video about like time travel and whatnot. So if anybody's on TikTok, please hit me up on whatever social medias that we will say later. But I will send you individually this TikTok that explains this like timeline of like, did Captain America actually be with Peggy because they can't interfere with the timeline of what they just went through? It's a mind blow. Like it just blows my mind. Let's be real.
Yeah, I've seen the graph form of this. It's very complicated. But apparently, it's like what the actions they take in Avengers Endgame create by 4 different time loops, and like he ends up on the 4th time loop when he's returning everything at the end of the movie. That's sort of the theory I saw. Is that what happened in the TikTok video, basically?
Yeah, basically. And they were like, is like, the Black Widow, Nat and him, did they just decide to like live a life together because he like in the long run has to save her from jumping off the cliff for Hawkeye? It's just this very convoluted 30 seconds video that just like has made my mind all like question everything right now.
Yeah, another interesting nugget I want to get to in the Marvel universe. Apparently, like this Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness is going to be a very crazy film. And like, I know that like he's going to appear in the Spider-Man 3, sort of filling the Stark role, was like the mentor here. But like Wanda's going to be in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It makes you wonder, considering what we're seeing in WandaVision here. Do you think we're being set up for the fact maybe she's the villain of the movie and something has gone wrong with her? Maybe she's lost her mind.
I mean, I feel like that has to be a theory because, you know what I mean? Like you want to say no, it can't be the Red Witch or whatever, but
she could be.
Like she might be the villain. I feel like you're right because she's gone through so much grief, so much sadness, like has all these guards up. She's picturing Vision living a whole life with her. So when she snaps out of it, she's just going to be angry.
Yeah. Could be possible. Could be kind of like their take on actually doing the Dark Phoenix story correctly with a different character.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be an interesting theory.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah. Let's touch on 2 other things before I let you go. Because obviously you and John Stanko have talked a lot about The Bachelor. Thumbs up, thumbs down this season.
Ugh, thumbs sideways. It's so annoying. Like it's just so much drama. They added 5 girls last night. Today is the January the 26th. So last night they added 5 more girls to the show. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. I think the producers just love
drama.
Yeah, exactly. They're going off the deep end. Like they hit the tip of the iceberg with last season with Peter, with what Victoria or whatever her name was. I can't remember her name. She was dating the country singer or whatever, and then they brought him in for the show. But like they hit that point, and now it's just going downhill from now.
I was also reading on the Twitter streets that Claire and Dale broke up also, so that was another like bomb from the Bachelor universe.
They did, but none of us are surprised. We're just like, you know what? That's you. You know, we're not surprised. Claire's a little crazy. If you want to again, like privately message me about a story I'm not supposed to know about, which I shouldn't be saying on air, but I'm going to anyway, about Claire seeing other people while she was the Bachelorette. I have some secrets I'm not supposed to know about, but I do.
That's a blind item, folks.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there for a little, little teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser. If you want the full scoop, you can find out from Sam off the air. We're not gonna get into it on the air. That's not responsible on our part.
No, it's not. I'm not gonna start drama on your podcast.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll avoid the drama there. What else have you been watching and streaming of late?
Oh my God. Well, because of our West Wing thing a couple of months ago.
Yep.
We're watching the West Wing. I watched Bridgerton.
Yeah.
I watched the Night Stalker on Netflix. I just feel like there's so many things and I just can't keep up. But those are the first ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
How is Night Stalker? It's on my list right now.
It was really well. I watched it in a day and a half.
Yeah.
It's it's dark. It's a little gloomy, because it's killing. But I thought it was interestingly told. Okay,
that's good to know. I think in terms of what I'm going to throw out there, stuff that I'm watching, I will say I did check The Chase out on ABC, the game show with the 3 Jeopardy guys. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's so fun.
Oh, my brother watches that too, so now I'm going to have to catch up.
The best part of the show is they do, and there's only one chaser at a time. There's 3 of them on the show. They solve the problem by putting a camera in the room where the other 2 guys are sitting there watching the game play out, and they'll cut in back to them just talking trash at the contestants or the chaser. It's so fun.
That's great. I have Hulu, so I'm pretty sure it's on there.
Yeah, most of the ABC stuff is on there, and the stuff that's so funny is just watching how great these guys are at the trivia is just phenomenal, because the episode that James Holzhauer is the chaser, he did not miss a question the entire episode and just wrecked the people he was playing against. It was so bad.
That's insane. I wish I was that smart.
Yeah. And the theory at the end of the chase here is basically you have a team of 3 people, you can win money, and then at the end you have to build up a question lead over 2 minutes. You can work there as a team, answer a bunch of questions, right? And then the chaser gets the same 2 minutes, try and get more right than you would take your money away. And they build a 16 question lead on James. And he knocked them out in a minute of that 2 minute time.
How is he so smart?
I remember James Holzhauer had a strategy. He basically says he reads a lot of children's books, actually children's education books. He said you get a lot of information in them because they don't give you all the extraneous facts.
That's really smart. I've never heard that.
Yeah, he said that just know a little about a lot. That's his strategy to winning in Jeopardy.
That sounds like a great strategy.
Yeah, I watched that. I did dabble in Celebrity Wheel of Fortune as well. I do have the contestants have fun with it, which is so funny because apparently one episode Terry Hatcher was just buying vowels every chance she could get. She was just laughing so hard about it.
That's great. I low-key hate Wheel of Fortune because I suck at it. At least Jeopardy. If the category is a kind of okay, when I know the category, but it's just when it comes to filling in words, I can't spell. So that's my issue.
Yeah, that one I watched, and I'm still trying to keep up with get ready for My Tough as Nails return on CBS. They should have gotten the post-Super Bowl slot, but they did not. That was a bad choice on CBS's part.
Yes. If only you ran CBS, Mike.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk to that about Alan Austin on Pop Culture next week. We're going to talk about the history of the Super Bowl lead-out program, and I'm going to give the spoiler warning here. CBS is not going to do well in our ratings.
You say that, but who knows? Maybe America is going to be in the favor of that show that I don't want to give the spoiler away to.
Yeah, well, they're doing The Equalizer on CBS, a reboot of the movie. It was based off a 70s TV show. They've done 2 movies, and then they rebooted it with Queen Latifah as the main character, which the trailer's not bad, but I don't think it's a good thematic choice for a post-Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. So But maybe we're both wrong. Maybe we're both like so wrong. We'll sit here on our wrongness in next week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, in 2 weeks, when we talk about that couple weeks, we're going to do our annual tradition of post Super Bowl commercial halftime recap here on the podcast, and we will talk. By then, we should have the ratings for the Equalizer, and we'll see if it did well.
That's true. We will see.
All right, Sam. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, if you follow on social media, they want to keep up with some of the stuff you're up to.
On Twitter at SDEROS 6, because I always get it wrong, and if I get it wrong, it is.
I'll fix it in post if it's wrong.
I was gonna say I don't deserve the follow, whatever. But you can always follow me on Instagram at SDerosa175. Just Google Sam Derosa. I'm not the famous singer, so I'll probably just be on their feed somewhere.
All right, Sam. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk about WandaVision soon.